how we have been taught. Those are things that we process to see that, okay, this is what will lead us to our place of property enlightenment. And if you look at learning in Nigeria, what we actually have is schooling, not education. Because if you look at it in terms of the rush to go through school, get an academic qualification, and get into the labor market to search for jobs, not to create jobs. But generally, Nigeria is what we call schooling. From the primary school to secondary to university. Before I went for my master's degree, it was more like, okay, when you were trying to get a job, they say master's degree is an added advantage. Then recently I was going through the papers and I saw PhD is an added advantage. Now, then I just thought, okay, we finally lost it in Nigeria. Having a PhD doesn't guarantee that you know what you're doing. What it says is you've been through school, you have a level of knowledge in research, and you've been able to bring forth your original part of research and contribute to the body of knowledge. Your ability to take what you have learned in school and put it into good use is not tested in school. The skills that you need to survive in your everyday activity, your everyday life, most curricula, they don't have it. So it's based on, most times based on your experience. I'll tell you, when I grew up in Ilorin, and for me, if you are living in a flat in Ilorin, means you are poor. So I went to Lagos, and I saw my classmates living in a flat, and I was thinking, okay, these people are probably poor. If you don't have a compound of your own, they define it as poor. But that was my own ignorance. If you are paying 2.7 million naira for a flat per year in Lagos and you are paying 100,000 for a bungalow in Ilorin, who is the richer, so to say, in material terms? You definitely are paying about 2.7. You have to want anything more on accommodation. But that was my own ignorance. And I actually discovered myself late. I didn't discover myself until I went to my master's degree. I got into the motion of getting a GST and getting an LSD. During my LSD, I realized, okay, I came back to Nigeria, worked for another year, then I said I was coming. I was not going to work to collect the salary. Then I decided to go for my master's degree, for my PhD. Then everybody thought I was mad, everybody thought I was crazy, right? Because they were like, you have a fantastic job, I was working in another company. Why would you use that for anything else? And to me, it was because I found more like the light, I seen the light. And the light for me was the fact that I need to go to work, not because I want to go to work, but because I love what I'm doing. It's only when I love what I'm doing, it's only when I have a passion for what I'm doing, that I will make any good use of it. But if you look at it this way, if you have something you know how to do very well, you are actually very good at it. But you love to do it, but nobody is willing to pay for it. What do you have? You have a hobby. But if you have a job that something you are very good at, and then you are being paid for it, but you don't love to do it, you have a job. That's where most people are right now. They have a job, they grumble every day when they start to go, they need to wake up to go to work. But if you have something you love to do, you know how to do it very well, and someone is actually willing to pay you for it, then that's when you have a career. That's when you wake up daily, going to work every day without feeling like you are doing something out of the ordinary. So for me, I became a trader in financial markets because I had a master's in financial engineering and in quantitative finance. And when I realized, okay, this was different was, on Friday when the market closed, I'll go to bed start. And I can't wait till Sunday to wait for the Asian market to open at 2 a.m. at time, so that I could start trading. Okay, that was when I knew this was different. And that's what we are trying to talk about. How do we get from that level of schooling that translates into education and then make a better society for everybody. This, I see, if the youth in Oyo State become self-sustenance, it creates another problem for the government. But this one will be a good problem. Because now we are trying to combat unemployment through self-sustenance. But the problem it will create then is, now people will know their rights. People will know that when government builds roads, it's their right, not a privilege. People will know that when you have good health care system, it's your right, not your privilege. So those are the kinds of things that will actually make the democracy grow when the youth start asking for their rights. It wasn't this bad before in Nigeria, because I can remember when we became the president, it was 2 years at 32. And I was listening to the conversation during Jonathan's election, and they said he should wait for his time. I was too young. Jonathan was about 50. So perhaps maybe we change the definition for youth or young adults to become from 16 to like 60. And the life expectancy in Nigeria is actually 56. And if you are 65 and above, you are only 3.4% of the population of Nigeria. So the only 3.4% of people will get to be 65 and above in Nigeria. So they are actually telling you to wait till you are dead before you can take up a position and rule. And which is the mindset we need to start correcting, which is the mindset we need to start changing. The government, being a national or a Nigerian, your nationality bestows some right upon you. The government has its own responsibility, and you, as citizens, you have your own responsibility. The government has a responsibility to keep the country safe, to provide the basic necessities of life. And if you look at it that way, then you need to start asking questions of the people you vote into power. They are called public servants for a reason. Not because they should come and rule, but because they come and lead. And the expectation is they will engineer and put in place programs that will actually lead to people being self-sustenance. If you look at the unemployment figures in Nigeria, it's actually very terrible. And it doesn't preclude anybody, it doesn't separate anybody, it doesn't recognize your degree. Why would a PhD holder be unemployed? We presume he has the skills. We presume he has a level of knowledge that people don't have. So why is he unemployed? For you to have gone for a PhD program, you should understand what you know how to do best, so that people can come to you, not for you to go and beg to apply. I was listening to Ibrahim Obi, Shekubola for PhD right now, and he said some club told him to come and do trials, but he doesn't do shows, he doesn't do psychos shows. Now, the level is, if people don't recognize his skills, he's not going to go to any club to go and be prospecting to play for them. That they should be the ones coming to beg him. That's someone that recognizes the skills they have. And if you start looking at education from the point of view that it's a totality, it's not something you look at in isolation that, okay, let's go to school so that you can have a skill or you can have a certificate to go and apply for a job. Then we start looking at things differently. For me, I don't have a problem with you not attending a school, so to say. There's no problem if you don't have the capacity to pass statistics. But there's a problem if you don't have any skill. If they create the opportunities, who is going to take them? If you go to Lagos on a Sunday morning, if you go to ShopRite, you'll be amazed at the number of foreigners within ShopRite. What services are they providing that Nigerians cannot provide? If you're looking for artisans in Nigeria, you look for Somalis and Nigerians and Nigerians. Is it because it's a terrible thing to be an artisan in Nigeria? Why do we look down on people that are artisans just because they're not into school? But they're used to a school, just because it's not a formal education. They've been to their own institute of learning and they've acquired the skills they need. for their daily activity. And we need to stop looking at